Okay, when we come back, a Bronx Tale, Robert De Niro's story of growing up in the 1960s.
Don't you see how I treat that kid? I treat that kid like he's my son.
He ain't your son. He's my son. We can't accept that.
I didn't give it to you. I gave it to your son. He worked for it.
That's right, my son. And I don't want my son involved in what goes on here.
That's Robert De Niro there playing an Italian-American bus driver who doesn't want the neighborhood mafia boss to be friendly with his son. And that is a scene from A Bronx Tale, which is De Niro's very impressive directing debut and the equally impressive writing and starring debut of Chazz Palminteri, who wrote the movie based on his own childhood experiences in the 60s. Palminteri plays the mobster named Sonny in this scene, who hangs on the corner and takes a liking to the film's young hero, De Niro's son, after the kid sees Sonny shoot someone and doesn't squeal.
Is it better to be loved or feared?
That's a good question. It's nice to be both, but it's very difficult. But if I had my choice, I would rather be feared.
The young hero, nicknamed C, is played at age 9 by Francis Capra and at age 17 by Lillo Brancato, and they're both very good actors. As a teenager, C becomes attracted to a black girl who goes to his high school and gets up the courage to ask her out despite the disapproval of his neighborhood and hers.
Calogero, Anello?
Yeah.
Got it.
My friends call me C.
Well, I like Calogero better.
Meanwhile, C gets advice from both his father and the mobster and uses the best of both.
When you're alone late at night in bed, just you and her under the covers, that's all that matters, see? You gotta do what your heart tells you to do.
In a less original movie, the ending would probably be a violent showdown between the father and the mobster fighting over the boy, but this is a much more original film based on a one-man show that Chazz Palminteri wrote out of his own life and acted on stage in New York and Los Angeles, and the truth in it is much more complex. The movie is about learning to be your own person and standing up for what you think is right and realizing, in Sonny the Gangster's words, that you better care about yourself because nobody else really cares. A Bronx Tale is a very special movie, truthful, painful, and almost poetic at times, and a very impressive directing debut for De Niro.
I liked the film, too. At first, I thought, oh, boy, here we go again. It's
Yeah.
back into the New York streets with De Niro, and he's playing it safe because these are the stories, obviously, that he and Martin Scorsese created and were so powerful. And then the film began to work on me later on, principally because I liked the character of this Chazz Palminteri and the young actors who played him. And then it got me when the interracial love story kicked in, because then I thought they were taking it to at least new turf. We've seen it in modern day, but this is the 60s when this was a very risky thing that they were both engaging in, and there's some real tension develops, and so I like the film, too. Maybe not as much as you, but I like it.
Another thing I liked about it is so frequently Italian-Americans are portrayed in the movies as gangsters. And here what you have is an Italian-American home with a bus driver.
Yeah.
De Niro has a wonderful speech. He says the real heroes
Yes, I agree.
are the
I like
guys
that
who
speech.
get up every morning and go out there and work and earn a living and support their family. And then there's another interesting speech.
He says, let's see if that guy, the mobster, can do that. That would be a real tough thing.
But on the other hand, the mobster isn't a bad guy either, and he has a nice speech about the kinds of people who feel they have to carry guns in order to get their way. And it's interesting how both of these people are mentoring this young boy, and he gets the good out of these two totally different approaches. I think that's the original twist here, instead of making them into
adversaries.
adversaries.